Excited to get him back, and how has he kind of handled this process? Because it seems like he's doing, I don't know, you kind of watch him out there, and it seems like he's been a pretty good teammate throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, no, he's done a good job throughout this. DSG status now, you know, as far as the academic part of things went, that's over with, and then now we're still week to week. There's still things in this program that we consider to be very important for these guys. We're trying to teach certain things through the game of football, and you know, there's still things that have to be done. And so it'll be a day-to-day, week-to-week, and that's just how we'll operate with him. But he has done well. He has handled what's happened to him well. He did go out there and he's done a great job on scout team. And there's other things outside of football that he's taken care of. But you know, we're still at a point now where this becomes internal with the program and the difference we're trying to make in these young people's lives and how we need to do it. So we'll just say it's day to day, and we'll figure out as we get closer to game time what that means.
Even though some of the scores have been pretty crazy between you and New Mexico in the past, it is possible when you play a triple option team that they can really dominate time of possession. Is that something you take into account when you're thinking about what kind of plays you're going to call, knowing that you may get fewer possessions in a game because they could sit on the ball a little bit?
Not really. I used to think that, but not really.
Was there a reason or an event that led to you? It appeared you guys were using towels to shield some of the defensive signals that were going through the game against Utah State. Was there something that led to that? I don't know if we've seen that before.
I don't know. Yeah, I saw that too. I wasn't a part of that conversation there, but yes, I mean, there's always signals and so on. You know, I think you got to kind of use a little judgment in there. And against Utah State, we played them. There was also Julius Brown, you know, was also on their staff there as well. So there's probably a little bit of that going on. And I think. You know, we used some towels. I remember watching Oregon, and they had, you know, 4 large sheets. Everybody does it a little bit different. You know, I'm not really sure. I don't know I know people try to steal signals and all that. I don't know which ones do it. I remember as a backup quarterback, that was one of my jobs here. I'd stand on the sideline, and Dirk would tell me to watch the signals, and I'd be yelling, "Run," and they'd throw it. And he'd look at me, and he'd be like, "You're done." So it really didn't last that long. So about the first time or the second time it fails, they stop listening to you. So if that's really your game plan, I think you're spending time on the wrong stuff, because that really didn't work out for us. I know that.
I asked you a little bit back in Las Vegas in media days about this, but the team photo that New Mexico took last year after the game, how did that sit with the players? And I know it's a respect thing, I guess. It doesn't happen here very often, but will that picture circulated all this week, and the feeling after that game, I guess, that you guys had, you know, losing on the blue to them?
Yeah. You know, as far as the picture goes, that's every team. We don't control what they do, you know, and the decisions they make. And that was up to them to do that. And certainly it's been seen. I mean, you guys know about that. We're not talking about revenge. We got to go out there and just execute, do our jobs. That's really what it is. I mean, that's what football is. There will be emotion in this game, you know, just because we're traveling, we're going to a good football team's home, and we want to try to find a way to win. And certainly have respect for them playing against them. We want to do our job. We want to go out there and execute. And so the motivation from that standpoint, that's not going to be the motivation for what we do today. The motivation for what we do today is preparing to go out there and just play. To go out there and play and play like we have been playing. Don't hesitate. Play fast and do what we've been doing. So those type of things, you know, we don't spend a lot of time on that. We're trying to spend time on the things that really matter and that we can focus on and get better at.
Last season, the game here, Thomas had 20 catches in that game. What was the thing, when you look back at that and you look at the film, what impressed you most about whether it was that game or anything that he did that night that just, you know, 20 catches is...
Yeah, well, I think we had 119 plays overall in that game and 79 throws. That's not what we do. But in that case, anytime you have 20 catches on any team, that's an impressive night. Thomas is a guy, he's consistent. Thomas continues to be that way. I think you saw it in the last game as well. And But that's not the game plan that we'd like to go into this game with, where we're throwing the ball 79 times. So that was uncharacteristic, kind of the way the game was going. But he certainly stepped up and continues to do that. Now you're seeing Ced Wilson, Chaz has stepped up. You're starting to see some other guys as well. And certainly McNichols has played very effectively, and we've seen that. He certainly did in the last game. So we'd like to be a whole lot more balanced than what we were last year.
Coach, you look at the last few times you've gone out on the road, and you've had quite a bit of success in terms of some large point margins of victory and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys are doing any differently or whatnot, but what kind of has led to that focus on the road that has seemingly led to quite a bit of success? I think it actually goes back to the Utah State game last year. After that, you guys been lights out on the road.
Yeah, road trips are good for us. I think it's one thing. Our guys do a very good job, and I think this crew in particular are traveling. We have a little routine when we get there and how we do things. This one's going to be different now that we're playing on Friday. So the way our week goes, it changes a little bit at the end of the week and how we flip days from a Thursday to a Friday. So this will be new. But the one thing that we talk to our guys about is we know when we're going to play. We're playing at 7:05 on Friday night. That's when kickoff is. That's not going to change. So whatever we do leading up to it, that really shouldn't affect anything we do on game day. We know what time we're playing. We know who we're playing, where we're playing, and the little tweaks here and there. If that affects guys, then we're not mentally tough enough to handle little changes and little things that come up. We talk about adversity. We might get off the plane, the buses aren't there. We might get off the plane like when we were at Virginia Tech this year. We came out of the parking lot of the hotel and the axle on the back end dropped right out of the bus. And all of a sudden, the offensive guys were jumping on the defensive bus, and that thing was rocking and probably wasn't safe, but we were driving to go play Virginia Tech, and we showed up and went and played well. And that's the mindset of what you want to have on the road. And certainly, I wouldn't say we're there yet, but we're working towards handling things a whole lot better. So I think the guys just do a good job. Taylor Tharp handles a lot of what we do on the road, and I think that's a part of it too, but his process and how we've done things has been very smooth. And so when our guys, we haven't had those issues, so we show up, we're ready to roll.
The last 2 years against the option, both Air Force and New Mexico, what has been the biggest issue for you guys in playing those teams? And also to be 4 games in and have 2 turnovers on defense, how do you kind of explain that? And I mean, obviously they're close on a lot of them, just not making the final plays.
Yeah. I think it's been a few things, and it's not just defensively. I think it's a team. It's special teams and offense that are included in those factors in the game because it all matters. But you're going to get the one-on-ones on the defensive side. You got to make those plays. You're going to be in one-on-one situations there. We're going to try to get more guys to the ball than just the single tackler. As far as the turnovers, that's something that we stress. But I also think too. I mean, we're playing well on defense. We're making tackles. We're getting guys to the football. We've had some opportunities for turnovers. We may have missed a couple. We've gotten a couple. But I also think too. I mean, that's the only focus. It's all turnover. All right, it's really not that. It's about doing our assignment, tackle the ball, and then we have a chance. Let's try to get the ball out. And I'll give credit to the offense that we played too. They haven't thrown up a whole lot of opportunities. Tyler Horton had the one there, and guess what? We're going to work on this week. That type of throw. I mean, it just goes back to, okay, we missed it. He was there. We had an opportunity. Let's work on it. That's no different than anybody else that maybe had an opportunity to make a play. We don't sit there and say, well, this is what you should have done. We're going to go work on it and try to train ourselves just to get it done. But the turnovers, they're still huge. Certainly want to keep getting them and not giving them. And that will always be an emphasis for us.
When you look at New Mexico on defense this year, you mentioned 9 returning starters, 9 seniors out there. What do they do well, and what has given them problems so far?
I don't know about a whole lot of problems. What they do well is they challenge it. They come up and challenge it. They got some pressures. They'll play some man coverage. They do mix it up. They've got a few different coverages that they've shown. So some new wrinkles from what they were last year, but I think that experience of these guys, they've battled through a few things. They've gotten hit on a few plays, but they've fought through games. That's one of the things I think watching New Mexico, that team has done, and then defensively they're gonna try to get after you. You know, try to pressure the quarterback, and they're gonna make you protect and do those different things. So preparing for that, and then at the same time, I think there's opportunities there. You know, that teams, they've taken advantage of it, and then there's been opportunities that, you know, New Mexico has stepped up and made plays too. So it's a little bit, as you watch the teams they played, there's some variety of what we do, there's some that we don't. So I think it's a little bit different challenge for them too when they face us.